Okay, so starting with question 1, we have a 5th year in 11 maths class who recently sat an exam and received a grade from O1 to O5. So we are asked what is the best type of data, or what type of data is described in this question. So the grades from O1 to O5. So the grades from O1 to O5, we have to note first of all that those are not the percentages, those are the letter grades that would go with certain percentage ranges. So O1, O2, O3, O4, etc. So that is not going to be numerical data, it's going to be categorical data. So even though there are numbers involved, obviously, it's still going to be categorical data. So we have to decide whether it is ordinal or nominal categorical, and because these letter grades have a distinct order to them, going from O1 down to O5, we will say that that is ordinal categorical data. Okay, the next part then requires us to look at this frequency table. So the frequency table shows the grades received by the class, so O1 to O5 with the frequency below. So the frequency in this case just means how many O1s were there, how many O2s, how many O3s, O4s and O5s. So we're asked first of all how many students sat the exam. So to look at that we have to look at all of the frequencies, add them up, and that should give us the total number of students that sat the exam. So we will have 3 plus 8 plus 7 plus 2 plus 1 and equals, and when we add that up we should get 21 students. Part 3 asks us to look at the modal grade received in the exam. We have to remember that the modal grade is the grade that comes up the most often. That word mode is most often, or the most common. So we look at our frequency table and we see which of those grades comes up the most often, and we can see there that it is O2. The next part then says, why can you not calculate the mean of the distribution? So if we think about calculating the mean of these frequency tables, when we've done that before, we have generally multiplied the frequency by whatever was at the top of the table, whatever that was referring to, and usually that was a number. The reason we cannot calculate the mean of this distribution is because the data in question is categorical data instead of numerical, and we can only calculate the mean when we have numerical data. So our answer is because the data is categorical. Because the data is categorical, it wouldn't make sense for us to calculate the mean. For example, we would multiply by the frequency and add them up. It doesn't make sense for us to add O1 plus O2. That doesn't mean anything. So because the data is categorical, we cannot work out the mean of this distribution. Part 5 asks us what is the median grade for this distribution. So again, we have to remember what that word means, that word median. So median is the middle value when they're arranged in order. With a frequency table like this, they are arranged in order already for us. So we have to work out what is the middle value. So first of all, we have to work out in terms of 21 students, who would be the middle student. So to do that, we use our formula that we have to have learned off, which is the total number plus 1, and we get a half of it. So we're getting a half of 22, and that is 11. So that means that the 11th student is the middle. The 11th student received the median grade. So now we have to scroll back up to our question and work out where the 11th student is. So we can see for the first grade, O1, we had 3 students. The frequency was 3, so it's not in O1. For O2, we have 8 students. If we add those together, we get 11. And that tells us that the 11th student received an O2. So our median grade is going to be an O2. And we can show our sums that we did. So we did 3 first. We did 3 plus 8, which was 11. And our median then, our middle value, our middle grade received is the O2. So important to know off that short formula for finding what the middle value is, or the middle student, and then being able to go to your table and work out how that applies to your question.